everybody, and welcome to What's Groovin'. I'm your host, Disorderly Cone. This is the Neato-matic. Let's see what it has for us this week. Starting off with Metal Earth, we have a couple of models to take a quick little look at here. The USS Constitution, the P-47 Thunderbolt, as well as the Air Force One. Looking at all three of these, we only have one Premium Series model. Let's take a quick little look at this guy here. Wow, those sails look really awesome. I love how they have that texture. Let's see if we can take a quick little closer look here. Yeah, wow, they have done a really fantastic job here. Look at all the detail, especially between that laser etching and the actual painted details. Let's see if we can get a little bit more here. I love the bottom of the boat as well. It looks like it will have a little bit of an easier construction than our typical boats. It looks like a couple of pieces actually make up the hull. I could be wrong on that though. I love that little lifeboat in the back there. That's really awesome. And you can definitely see that it's not just paint. They actually are putting texture on those sails, judging by the back here with all that silver. Again, this looks really awesome, and we know that it's actually a Premium Series model, so we know it's going to be a lot bigger than our typical Metal Earth models. And I'm actually really curious about how this one's going to look next to the other ones. And I'm also curious about how some people are going to be able to form this hull, because it also looks like, yeah, look, there's 4 pieces there that all come together. Yeah, that's going to be very tricky for a lot of people. I'm definitely interested to see how everyone's actually able to conquer that little piece. Let's go back here and take a look at, looking at the P-74, we can see that we definitely have some improvement when it comes to our planes here. They've made all the wings actually thick instead of having just one solid piece. The color looks fantastic. Again, I really like the front here. I like how they were able to capture those really unique details, and it looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward to actually put together. The most complicated parts when it comes to these airplane models tends to be the cockpit area, especially playing with those little ribbon pieces there on the front, but these ones look like they're a little bit thicker than normal. But this is not a Premium Series, so keep that in mind. It should be a little bit smaller, but not too small. I think that Metal Earth has done a really good job lately of increasing the sizes of their models, even for the smaller ones. Let's take another little look here. Love the paint job, really good job on this. And I also like how it's actually kind of a hybrid between not just like a matte finish, but it's actually kind of a shiny coat finish as well. I really like the detail on these guys here. Let's take a quick little look at the bottom. We can see that this one actually has 2 sheets. It's a moderate difficulty, 5.1 inches in length, 4.5 in width, and 1.9 in height. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good sized model. I'm actually really interested to see how this one comes out. Unfortunately, we can't really see the instructions on these coming soon models, but we do get a little bit of a look with just those 360 pages. Let's go back here and take a quick little look at the Air Force One. Air Force One here looks really cool too. There's definitely an interesting look there on the cockpit. If you notice there's actually multiple pieces that make up that cockpit area. We can actually zoom in there and see that. Anytime we have multiple pieces that are going together in kind of a cylinder form that kind of come into a cone almost, it's really hard to get those seams just perfect. You really have to take your time here in order to be able to kind of get those just right. And whoever actually makes these for Metal Earth, you can tell that they take their time here. Let's take a quick little look at some of the pictures that we have. We can see that this guy here is again looking pretty big, but again, it's not a Premium Series model, so we know that it should still be on the average side here. Let's look at the back. You can see again the wings are not flat. These wings do have some profile to them, which is a great thing to see. The paint job here also looks good. It carries out throughout the entire model. There doesn't seem to be too many pieces of silver on this, which is really nice as well. Unlike the ship that we saw earlier where only one side is painted, this one here looks like everything is coated. Now this one does look like it will actually be a little complicated. Let's go back here and see what they say at the bottom. Yeah, they're saying it's going to actually be a moderate difficulty with 2.75 sheets of metal for us to be able to build with. This will be the little square guys, by the way, if you've built these before. The total assemble size will be 7 inches in length, which is pretty big. Then we're going to be 5.8 inches in width, and of course 2.4 inches in height. So this is actually going to be again, a pretty substantial little model. I'm pretty impressed with how big these are getting, guys. Okay, now we've looked at Metal Earth, we do see that we still have the Jawa Sandcrawler. There's been a lot of speculation as to why this one's been sitting in the coming soon page for so long. I really don't know, to be totally honest with you, why this one's been sitting here, but I would speculate that if something's coming out in Star Wars, these guys will actually wait until that kind of comes out, and then they'll put this out with that. So I'm actually interested to see when this comes out. And really, who knows? It could come out next week. We really don't know. Maybe I should email them and find out. We could maybe find out that way. Anyway, guys, let's move on to our next page here. Now, one thing I want to talk about real quickly was Piececool. When it comes to some of these other brands, it's kind of hard to find some of their stuff, especially some of the newer models. Piececool can be a little bit difficult. I tend to visit a few different websites. This one here is the AliExpress side of things. We can see that they have released a traditional model as well as another crane, and we also have the Sydney Opera House. Now, this was actually also posted on the Reddit, but I think it's something to look at real quickly. It's pretty nice looking, if you ask me. I mean, I love the whole white and gold here. We can take a closer look at this here, or we should be able to if I can actually zoom in on the page. You got to help me here, Needle-matic. There we go. Looking a little bit closer here, we can see that we are 8.7 centimeters in height, 17 centimeters in length, and 13.3 centimeters in width. So yeah, this is a pretty nice sized little model, and we have some really cool details here to accompany it. Let's take a closer look at some of the other pictures here that they offer us. We can see that again, it comes in the longer sheets because again, it's a bigger model. They also kind of give you some tool recommendations there, which I think is really nice. Another really kind of cool thing about Piececool real quickly is they actually have numbers on all of their pieces, which makes it a lot easier for us to be able to find the pieces we need when we're looking for them both on the sheet and in the instructions. But quick side note on that, apparently Metal Earth has started to do this too, which everyone's been asking for a long time. And if true, I think that's awesome, and that's a great upgrade to the Metal Earth brand. Back to Piececool though. We can see that we have a couple of more things. Again, we can see the back view here and the top view. And lastly, we can see some really awesome marketing. I absolutely love Piececool's media team, and these kind of pictures make me laugh. I know they make you guys laugh too. But again, a really nice looking model from Piececool, and I'm really happy to be able to share something else with you guys from them. Now let's move on real quickly over to the MoYu side of things. Again, it is kind of hard to find information on new releases with these models. You can visit different websites, and sometimes what they'll list on the US versions, if you will, and the Chinese versions of these sites, and what you find on Alibaba can be very, very different. So you have to kind of pay attention to all three of these, and even if you do that, sometimes these models just kind of pop up in random stores. So it's kind of hard to find the details, but real quickly on this, we can see that we have some new traditional Chinese models here. Some of these actually come with scented packs, which I think is kind of interesting. MoYu always has some really neat stuff, really interesting models. And one thing I really did want to talk about real quickly is that lately they've been posting a lot about their space models. Very cool stuff. I recommend checking them out if you do get a chance. There we go. We can see the space station right here. This one is pretty cool, and I would actually like to take a look at this one myself. I've never actually built a space model from MoYu yet, and judging by the amount of people that talk so highly about these models, to take a closer look at this would be really neat. Unfortunately right now though, it looks like my, there we go. Okay, let's see if we can get some better pictures. All right. Here we go, we get some better pictures here. Now it looks like this actually comes apart, which is super interesting. I know that MoYu tends to use magnets in their builds, so I would assume that this is where they've used it here. Looking a little bit closer, we can see that this is a huge build. I mean, this is actually quite substantial in size. We can see it's 300 millimeters in length, 360 millimeters in width, and then 220 millimeters in height. If you are a 3D printing person, I want you to think about your standard Ender 3 Pro bed, and that is kind of the size of this thing. It's pretty big, and again, for it to be made with magnets, that's super cool. We can also see it has some really neat details here. They've done a good job with their marketing of showing how like crazy detail they actually went with this. It is a really neat model, and one that I would definitely want to take a look at, like I said before. So if you're interested, definitely take a look at the MoYu space station. Now let's go back here. Let's do this. And then we go over to our friends at the Moyustore. Now the Moyustore has some pretty neat releases. Let's go right over to the new release side of things. Taking a quick little look here, we have a whole bunch of cyber helmets. Now most of these already come pre-built. However, you do get to install some of the LEDs and have some customability depending on which one you choose. I mean, just take a look at these guys. They are definitely unique. And if you're into this kind of thing, I would definitely recommend taking a closer look. One other thing I wanted to point out though was not only have they added some more dinos onto the page, which I know a lot of you guys have been liking those different colored dinos. They were actually showing them on their Facebook page for a little bit, asking for any kind of help or improvement that you guys might want to add to these, which I think is always a really neat thing about the Moyustore. They ask for your feedback when it comes to making these kinds of builds. So I really do enjoy these, and I can't wait to maybe have one of these on the show soon. Now looking a little bit further down here, if we go to the second page, there's one thing I want to touch on real quick, and that is they've added the entire line of Metal Time to their store. That's right guys, they have every single Metal Time model from the Kickstarter campaign available for you right here. I think it's so awesome that they've added all the Metal Time models onto their site. Alright, now one more thing before we move on, we're going to be doing a giveaway with our friends from the Moyustore, and this giveaway is going to be completely done on Instagram. I'm going to be including in the next What's Grooving episode all the details you need to know. So stay tuned and don't forget to follow the Moyustore and us on Instagram for more details. Alright, now from the Moyustore we jump on to the top 5 Reddit posts of the week. Let's see what we have here. Starting off with No Issue 1661. We can see this is the most difficult model he's ever built. Let's take a closer look here. Yes! I completely agree. This rover is definitely challenging, especially with its front piece there. If you're not careful, it actually becomes completely dangly. And after you've built it, you do have to be kind of careful with it too. Anytime you have a whole bunch of pieces hanging off of any kind of 3D metal model, you really do have to handle them carefully. Let's take a closer look at what everyone else is saying. Right off the bat from Metal Model Attic, this one is not for the faint of heart. Congratulations, you did a great job. It looks very well executed from where I'm sitting. And I actually completely agree. Taking a closer look at this model, you can see how sharp all of these different edges are made. I mean, I think personally you did a better job than I did. I mean, really, that back looks solid. All these little tubes here look great. You have a little bit of the pieces here on the back just next to the stock there that are coming apart. But to be totally honest with you, all the detail here is done extremely well. Even the wheel detail, which I think a lot of people were going to struggle with, you did very well. So hats off to you. You definitely get the upvote. Let's go back out here. Number 2, it looks like the parts are now labeled on the sheets. I told you guys earlier that I believe this was going to be happening, and now we get our confirmation here. It looks like with the Batman model. Very cool. This comes to us from It's Mr. Owlman, and he tells us that again, all the sheets now have numbers on the parts, which again makes it so much easier for us to be able to find the things when we need them. Looking at the first couple of responses here from Moscow GT, I hope I got your name right, my friend. Yep, the new Titanic came like that too. That's really good to know that some of these newer models are actually all coming like this. Finally, I completely agree with you, Mr. Owlman. And yeah, it seems like everybody's actually pretty excited about this. Or again, it's Mr. Owlman. You definitely deserve the upvote for that investigation. Let's go back here. The next one we have here is surprisingly really easy build, and it's huge. This one's from Balding Jordanian. And of course, this is the brand new Iron Man model. And just take a look at this build quality. You did a great job here, especially on the helmet and on the legs. I really like how everything has come together. This is actually one of the more trickier ones in my opinion, just because you do have to try to get everything just really symmetrical to get it really nice looking. And I think you did a really good job of trying to be able to do this. Let's take a quick little look at some of the other responses here. Looks like from McDillon12, looks awesome, great job, completely agree. Then we have Den Fellboy saying, that's what she said. Nice. And finally, we have OK Ticket 5613. Looks perfect. I would be proud to put this Metalcraft on my office desk. And again, I completely agree. Great job there. And again, Mr. Balding Jordanian, you are definitely deserving of the upvote. Let's go back to our next one here. It shimmers. Let's take a closer look here. Wow. Absolutely does shimmer. I completely agree. Let's take another little closer look at that. Yeah, wow. This is actually, I believe, the new Piececool version. I could be wrong on that. The Piececool version is a little bit different from the Metal Earth's Peacock if you haven't seen the two of them yet. And I can definitely agree. This is super shimmery. I love how you actually got them all in a row. It's actually kind of difficult to make sure that each one of those are just perfect to get that kind of effect. I'm interested to see how you're going to get that little bit of a bend and try to keep that effect. I'd love to see when you're done, so make sure you post a follow-up when everything is completely built. So Aiken Faster 11, let's take a look at some of the responses. Dippy 13 did this one a couple of months ago and it's still one of my favorites. It's definitely a pretty model. I built this one after it first came out and it's still one of my favorites. That's from Commander Panda 37. Again, I completely agree with all of these comments, and that gets you, my friend, the upvote as well. 60. Good job on that. Good job on that. And finally, number 5 is actually the Piececool marketing strategy. We already made a joke on that earlier, and I completely agree with everyone's comments in here. We already know what everyone's going to say, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the upvote there. And number 6 is something that we looked at last week. So let's go ahead and take a look at my finished Iconics model. This one here is from, I actually went too quickly here. This one is from our friend Pale Origin. You can see all the detail they've been able to accomplish. Really sharp edges here. This model looks really well done, and I love how you were able to get all the tabs there bent down very flat. This is actually one of the more simpler Star Wars models, but it really does look great. I mean, this is definitely one of the better flying cheese wedges I've seen here, so great job on that. We get 3 other pictures. Let's take another look here. Oh, we get the different sizes. We have both the original and the Iconics version here, looking solid. Move one more over there. We can see that there's a lot more detail on the Iconics version versus, or I should say, Premium Series model versus the original one. You can see a lot more inside of the whole control center, and you can definitely see some more guns there on the side. We can also see it's a lot bigger, and that is, of course, again, because it's Iconics. Great job here, definitely deserving of the upvote, if we can get over there. Definitely deserving of the upvote. That brings you to 44, and us to the end of our episode. Groovers, I had a really good time looking at all these neat projects with you, and if you guys had a good time, don't forget to press that like button. For more videos like this that cover all things in hobby news, go ahead and press that subscribe button, and if you found something neat that you want me to check out and share on the show, just go ahead and give it in the comments down below, or shoot me a message on the old Instagram. Until next time, Groovers, keep building.